So it is Saturday, July 22nd, I believe, of the year 2023, and the year of our Lord 2023. And I'm sitting here in the great metropolis that's known as Fort Lawn, South Carolina, at one of the best but priciest restaurants around called the Wagon Wheel. And the good wife ordered some stuff, and I'm just sitting out here waiting on it. Been working today, as you can tell by looking at me out there in that plant that I work in. You know, there's no air conditioning, it's warm, but you know what, I love it. I love where I am. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, but I am looking forward to the fall. I love the fall, starting in October all the way through December, and I love everything associated with the fall. That's my time of year, and I'm looking forward to it. Like the winter too, but fall's just my time of year. So anyway, while I'm sitting out here waiting on this good grub to be cooked up, thinking about Bible prophecy, if that's what you want to call it. Some call it eschatology. That's the big $5 theological word. And some call it study of the end times. If y'all hear a loud noise out there in the background, there's a train going by out there on the tracks. But I have a different take on Bible prophecy than a lot of them do. Yeah, I listen to Andy Woods. I listen to most of JB, what's his name? I used to listen to JB Hicks, and I don't listen to him too much. I'm not into the whole Luciferian thing that he teaches. Who else was out there? I've listened to old John Hagee over the years as he talks about it, and reading a book right now by Hal Lindsey. I believe he's still alive. One of the last books he wrote, called The Everlasting Hatred, The Roots of Jihad. I bought that book, and that book came out right after the towers went down. And I bought it then. I'm just now reading it. That shows you how long it takes me to read a book sometimes. I love to read, but I'm just now getting to that one. But I have different outlooks on eschatology, and people will say, well, Bobby, what you're teaching doesn't go along with what these popular people on TV and radio is teaching. What makes you think you're right and they're wrong? Well, you know what? I really ain't worried about all that, because I don't teach what I teach because some popular person taught it. I teach what I teach because the Lord has showed me something. And most of the time, if not all the time, when I feel the Lord shows me something, I'll start looking, and you know what? Other people believe the same thing, and we'll just take it from there. But I believe in a eschatology in a different way. You know, most of them will teach, and this is just my thoughts, it's just my musings, take it or leave it. You know, most of your teachers will teach that there's a battle, the battle of, a lot of them call it Gog and Magog, the battle of Gog and Magog, and it takes place either before the rapture or before the 7 years of tribulation, or it takes mid-place in the middle of the tribulation, where Russia will team together with the Muslim countries and come against Israel. You know, God will rain fire down on them and destroy them. And then after that, the Antichrist rises up, and they get to do it all again in 7 years. I don't see it that way. You know, when I look at the 70 weeks of Daniel, the 490 years, you know, those 490 years were a time of judgment to be poured out on the nation of Israel. And the entirety of the first 483 years all dealt with Israel. My question has been, if the entire 483 years was judgment on Israel, why all of a sudden now is the last 7 years, known as the time of Jacob's trouble, the tribulation, if you want to call it, why is all of a sudden now it's worldwide? This is, I hope I don't lose people by saying this, but I don't believe that the tribulation, I don't believe that the 21 judgments, and I could be wrong, this is just my musings, I don't believe that all of the 21 judgments that are poured out on the entirety of the world. Just like in the book of Exodus, when Pharaoh was holding back the people of Israel, and God rained those judgments down. It didn't rain over the whole world, it rained down on Egypt. I believe in the end times, when those 21 judgments are poured out, I don't believe they're poured out upon the whole world. And for those who are going to say, well, it says the whole world, I've got a 3-part series I've done on my Facebook page called The Blessed Hope, where I explain all that. Cannot do that in a video because it'll be too long and none of you will watch it. So just go over to that page, Blessed Hope, and you can look them up. or I'll post them in the comments, you know, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever this video ends up. But I just don't believe it's the entirety of the world. Just like I don't believe the entirety of the world comes up against Israel in the last days. I believe a 10-nation coalition led by what we know as the Antichrist and what Islam calls the Mahdi will rise up and come against the nation of Israel. And I believe the book of Micah teaches that God will raise up 7 shepherds and 8 principal men, which translated, I believe 7 or 8 nations are going to be raised up to come and help the nation of Israel during that time. At the Battle of Armageddon, and that'll be the Battle of Armageddon. A man asked me the other day, he said, well, doesn't it say the kings of the east? Isn't that China? Well, first of all, it doesn't say China. It does say kings of the east. But you remember back when Jesus was born in a manger and it says the wise men came from the east. Those men came from Persia, Babylon, around in that area. They didn't come all the way from China. So, you know, so I believe that this is, and they'll say, well, it has to be China because they can field a 200 million man army. You know, there's over 2 billion Muslims on this earth. They can field 300 or 400 million man armies to come up against the nation of Israel during that time. But like I said, I write about this a lot on my Facebook page, The Blessed Hope. And I go into a little bit more detail than I'm going to do here in this video. I've been trying to keep my videos short, so I'm getting ready to cut this one off too. But people will say, well, Bobby, what about the rest of the world? What's going on with the rest of the world during this time? Well, the scripture says that the other nations will sit back and look at what's going on and wonder and say, you know, why are you going up against them? Why are you there to take booty? So, you know, with that being said, I do believe there's a world war coming, and this world war could possibly take place. And what I see as the world war that's coming is what everybody else sees as the Battle of Gog and Magog. But I see the world that we live in now. I see that the governments are taking over, even here in the United States. We see this AI, and I'm not into conspiracy theories, but we see this AI on the rise. We see global government on the rise. We see cashless monetary systems on the rise. And, you know, all of that's well and good, but the Bible doesn't teach all that. Sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't teach you a cashless society. It doesn't teach a new world order. You know, I don't think the Illuminati has anything to do with it. I don't know whether these chemtrails, as they call them, I don't know if that's the government dousing us with poison or if it's just the exhaust coming out of the airplane. I don't know. I don't have time to worry about that. You will drive yourself crazy worried about stuff like that. But I believe what's going to happen, and I believe it's happening now. We see this world in disarray. That's a big word. We see this old world in disarray. I believe there's a world war coming, and it could be possibly start with what's going on in the Ukraine. And just let me add, I support the people of the Ukraine. I support their leadership. I don't care what the conservative people on the radio say. I'm with Mark Levin on this one. But anyway, and this world war is probably going to be the worst war this world has ever seen. And by the time this world war is over, it's going to leave this earth ripe for the rising of that man in the Middle East and that 10-nation coalition. So what's happening in the world today? Yeah, I believe it's prophetic, but I don't believe it's leading up to the Battle of Armageddon. I believe it's leading up to a war that's going to get this earth ready for the rapture of the church in the 7 years that come in the time of the Jacob's trouble. Anyway, I probably just confused everybody, but we'll do some more videos on it later. Like I said, if you're on YouTube, click and like. If you like it, you know, subscribe, share it with people. The more people you share it with, if you subscribe, if you like it, you know, to get some algorithms going and other people can see it. I'm not making a dime off anything I do. I'm just putting it out there. So go on my Facebook page, Blessed Hope. I'm on Instagram. I think I'm on Twitter and Truth Social. So anyway, just throwing it out there. God bless all of you.